will also react to comments from Steve Kerr that I don't understand. I don't understand them.
A little different. I understand where he's coming from, but I was a little bit put off at his tone, especially considering where his roster is and exactly how many younger players that he has to quote unquote deal with. And it definitely cast in my mind thoughts about how long he wants to do this.
Okay, so that's kind of, and by the way, when I say I don't understand him, I don't understand him from the perspective of, why are you saying this into a microphone? You can feel this, you can think this. My God, Steve, it's your future, and you can play that out however you want. But I am always endlessly fascinated when celebrities and sports teams go public. When do they do it? Why do they do it? What do they say? That's where my brain goes every time, right? Kyle Shanahan and Steve Wilkes. He knows he messed up. Ooh, interesting.
Right.
Why did you say that? Why did you say it now? And what exactly did you say? That's how my brain works. So Steve Kerr, on just a Thursday in May, decides to start talking about the remainder of his contract that he just signed. So if you haven't heard these comments, this is a sit down with Raj Mathai of NBC Bay Area, not NBC Sports Bay Area, NBC Bay Area. Raj is a G, okay? Raj is like, man, he's phenomenal. Sports and beyond, news, everything. He sits down with Steve Kerr and take a listen to this.
There's going to come a time, and maybe it's in 2 years when my contract's up. Maybe that's the time where it's time for me to move on and time for the Warriors to seek new blood and new ideas. And we'll both know when that time comes. And I can tell you one thing, it will be a very amicable parting of the ways whenever that happens.
Okay. Why did you say that yesterday? What do you hear there?
I hear him saying, when my contract's up, I'm not going to coach anymore. That's what I hear him say.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the video right now, and it looks like it was shot at Chase Center. I see in the background a slight piece of not Treasure Island, but Yerba Buena Island. For those of you not in the know, Treasure Island is the landfill portion. Yerba Buena Island is the actual island that is on the south side of the Bay Bridge. And you can see that over Steve's right shoulder. You can see some of the Bay activity over his left shoulder. And when I hear him say just that quote, it makes me think, I'm leaving in 2 years and it's going to be amicable. That's what I heard.
Let's listen to this again.
Okay. You love to break it the blank down.
If somebody's in your car talking,
shut them up.
Shut up. Listen to this from Steve Kerr.
There's going to come a time, and maybe it's in 2 years when my contract's up. Maybe that's the time where it's time for me to move on and time for the Warriors to seek new blood and new ideas. And we'll both know when that time comes. And I can tell you one thing, it will be a very amicable parting of the ways whenever that happens.
Okay. I know how this often works with when we're listening to stuff like this, and we talk about what people say is, oh, why did he say that? Why did you answer it that way? A very common response from, I think, fans at large is, well, he's answering a question. Listen, take it from two people who speak to Steve Kerr every single damn week.
Yep.
We can ask whatever question we want. If he doesn't want to answer it in a certain way, he won't. And there's nobody better at it in this entire city than him.
Steve, do we lose you? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a question about the punch of Jordan Poole, and suddenly we lost him.
Somehow,
for the first and only time, that's when we lost him.
Gee, wonder what happened there.
I mean, right?
Fans, I think often you believe in the big time sports world or any world of celebrity that if a question is asked, the person's like, oh, damn, I didn't know they were going to ask that question. Well, now I've got to just spill the beans and tell you everything. They don't. Bob Myers did this for a whole year. and didn't answer the question.
Well, he told us up front, guys, you should probably just enjoy this year.
That's right. Wink, wink. You can ask again,
right?
And I'm not going to answer again.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, the answer was, if you read between the lines of that answer, the answer was enjoy this year because out of here.
So Steve chose to take the conversation there.
Right.
He chose to say it might be over in 2 years. That would be amicable. There's a shelf life to this stuff. And it, wink, wink, might be in 2 years. Here's my thing with this and why I'm asking why. Like, why say this publicly? Doesn't this begin the process of robbing Steve of his power and credibility over the next 2 years? I don't care if you leave in 2 years. It surprises no one that you might. The whole idea of the whole band leaving in 2 years has been well discussed. Steph, Draymond, Steve, potentially Clay if he's still on the team, you might all leave together in 2 years. Totally get that. But when you say it publicly, don't you start to set up a red carpet for your own departure? And for example, if I'm Jonathan Kuminga and I get into I don't really like how this playing time thing is going again, coach, aren't I much more apt to let the frustration take over and say, I'm not listening to you? You're leaving. You're not going to be here. When I turn 24 and I'm really ready to pop, you're not even going to be my coach.
Well, he might not be on this team.
That's true, too.
There is that. And I know what you're saying about, the leverage point as a coach of, hey, I'm going to be your coach. I'm going to be here in your ear for the rest of your career. And if you're talking about maybe 2 more years and maybe I'll leave then and amicable split and all the rest of it. And when you look at Steve Kerr's bio, you realize that in 2 years, he's going to be 60, and he has spent, at that point, the last 37 years in the association, player, assistant coach, GM, head coach. He's won, 9 titles as a player, coach, etc. So, of course, there's going to be a shelf life to it. And 2 years, that's what's left in his deal. That's probably the best time for him to bow out.
And that's fine. Again, I got no issue with feeling that way. It's odd to me that you would say it out loud because even though he didn't firmly say it, that's what all of us heard. And the fact that you are saying it means that's probably what everybody's thinking right now. We're talking about an amicable split.
Right.
2 years from now. The ink's barely dry on the contract extension you just signed.
But the contract extension was what?
2 years.
And
right.
Steph Curry has how much left?
2 years.
So
that's all clear.
Exactly.
But to come out with a megaphone and be like, "Yup, probably leaving." I just think, look, what do we all do during senior year of high school?
Keep in touch.
Do you focus on your tests as well once you already got into college?
Wow.
There's a thing called senioritis. Why? Because you know you're leaving, and you don't really have to invest in the future of that school anymore.
This is different, though, I think, because you're going to be looking at the last year of Steph, and Draymond will only have one more. It'll feel more like Last Dance-ish if, this continues. And think about this part, too, Mark, is this is an interview in May that he clearly either sought out or was open to at the facility with Raj Mathai to get this message out. This was not an accidental, gotcha moment where he got caught. Steve Kerr doesn't get caught.
No. So that's my only question.
Right.
It's not an issue. What it is a question. Why? Why? If anybody's out there going, look, this is a non-issue. Okay. How did it help? What did Steve do yesterday that helped?
I don't think it hurt either.
Well, that's fine. You can think it didn't hurt, but again, you said it. He sought this out and wanted to say it publicly.
Right.
Why?
I think just to set a course for the inevitable.
Just because he wanted to tell everybody what he was doing?
Exactly.
They don't ever do that. They never tell us what they're doing.
This guy is special because he is unfireable, and now he's able to, if there is criticism this year or whatever, he can look at this comment and say, hey, I told you that maybe in 2 years I'd be done. So you want me gone? Just wait it out. I'll be gone.
I